and welcome to Palace Fan TV here at the Victory Club in Norwood Junction. I'm Jim Daly, and this is the first of our monthly review shows for this new season. Now I've got some familiar faces with me here. We've got Terence Ford from Red and Blue Army. How are you, Terry?
Very good.
And we've got Jay Crane from the Eagles Beak. You all right?
Hi, good, thanks.
Good, welcome. Thanks for joining me again, chaps. Now, this is our first review video of the season. Palace are second in the table, which is crazy. 3 wins from 4. So we're going to look back at the last few games and look a little bit at the team and how the team have been playing. So first of all, what I want to do is just throw out some names for some players that have played well, and see what you think. So first of all, now with a change in goal start of the season, Alex McCarthy's coming from QPR. We talked about him in our transfer review video. Jules is back. He played in a reserve game. Does Jules go straight back in, or has McCarthy been worthy of his place, Terry?
It's a tough one, isn't it?
Tough one to start off with.
Yeah, really tough. Throw some names out there and just, you know, the crux of all of Crystal Palace argument. Most managers want to stick with a winning team, and we've just gone away to the champions and won 2-1. The double save from McCarthy in the first half is superb. Could he have done better with Falcao's goal? It's a great run, great header, very well placed, but no goalkeeper wants to get beat at a near post. The Redmond goal at Norwich, maybe he should have done better there. But at the same time, he's made some fantastic saves and kept us in games where we've been lacking. He did the same against Villa, kept us in the game against Arsenal to the end when really we should have been out of sight at times. So it's a really, really, really tough one.
The Falcao one is interesting because McCarthy looked really disappointed to let that goal in, when actually, like you say, it was a very good header right at the near post, but maybe that shows the sort of high standards he's setting himself. But you mentioned Norwich. We expected Hennessy to start, didn't we, against Norwich, and he's not had a look in because McCarthy's been so good. So is he your number one?
Yeah, I find it hard to see how Speroni's going to get back in with the form he's had. We all thought Hennessy was going to be the first choice for this season when we found out Speroni was going to be injured or was injured. But obviously Pardew signed McCarthy, so there's obviously a feeling there that that's his keeper, that's his player he's brought in, so I should make him number one. I think he impressed, in pre-season. He played quite a lot in pre-season. I was surprised. I was expecting Hennessy to start. Terry mentioned those goals he'd probably be disappointed with. I think with Speroni, he's a good shot stopper. I think Speroni would have got down quicker to those perhaps because he's a smaller keeper, whereas McCarthy's bigger, similar to Hennessy. It's a different type of keeper. So I wonder if Speroni might have got to those, but may not have made some of the other saves that McCarthy did. So I think he's done well. He's impressed me, and I can't see Speroni getting straight back in.
He's also quite a good-looking lad, isn't he?
I can't comment on that. I think it's funny you say that you think he's a different kind of stopper. He's a little bit taller than Speroni, but I think his shot stopping is probably up there with Speroni's, but he has the added advantage of being able to command his area. For me, it's for every Palace fan for so long now, Speroni's been our number one.
Yeah.
And it's hard to shake that out of our minds that he's the man you've got to beat. But McCarthy's put himself in a good position. 3 wins out of 4. Yeah, there's probably a couple of bits in there that he would have liked to have done better. Again, we hark back to the distribution at Norwich, which hasn't materialised again since. Everyone was expecting to see it on a regular basis, but no, that's been fine. So other than a couple of goals that he should have done better with, that hasn't really affected us in the games that it's been in. He's given himself a good chance to hold on to that position, and this is all by Wayne Hennessy. Statistically speaking, is currently the best goalkeeper in world football on an international level. Yeah, keeping 5 clean sheets on the bounce or whatever it is for Wales. So,
where does it leave Hennessy then? Is he going to get a look in now that Jules is back as well and had a very good game for the reserves in midweek as well?
Yeah, I wonder if there's a feeling that it's going to be his last season before he retires. So we'll end up with 2 very good keepers, I think, battling for that number 1 spot. I think Pardew's. Well, it turned out to be a good move by having 3 keepers because Speroni's got injured, and then we'd have been struggling with another reserve. So I have a feeling that could be why Hennessy's sticking around. I guess we'll find out in January whether he's still happy at that point, whether he wants to move on then. But hopefully he'll stick around because I have a real feeling Speroni might be in his last season.
I think the best thing that can happen for Hennessy is an extended League Cup run, really.
Yeah.
So to give him some performances and give him a chance to get in there and keep him happy. But Speroni can't go on forever.
No.
He'll turn 37 by the end of this season. You're looking at someone
And then
who's coming towards the end of their career.
Next year, Hennessy can play in the Europa League. So that's anyway. Let's move on to the rest of the team. Now, fullbacks have been interesting because Wardy's obviously our fullback and right back, and Soiré at left back. Wardy has popped up with 2 goals already this season against Arsenal and against Chelsea. First of all, Terry, what was he doing in the penalty area against Chelsea? But also, has he actually been having a good season? Because in some of the games, against Villa perhaps, he hasn't actually been having a brilliant form, but he has scored 2 goals.
From the first few games of the season, I'm actually not that surprised to find him in the 6-yard box at Chelsea, because there has definitely been an aim for our fullback to get forward. It's definitely part of the plan. At Norwich on the first game of the season, Soiré whipped across to the back post, and Joel Ward nodded it down to Glenn Murray, and it was just kind of like, wait, where's everyone else? There was no one else in the box, so it's clearly a plan to get the fullbacks forward. Would I recommend it 10 minutes to go away at the home of the champions? Well, obviously I would have said no, but he scored a goal, so defensively speaking, I don't know, what do you think, Jay? I think he's been lacking a bit.
I think he's struggled, to be fair. I think he scored a couple of goals, but he's probably been responsible for a couple as well. Particularly against Arsenal, I don't know whether he looked unfit or whether he just wasn't getting the support from midfield, but he looked to really struggle in that game, and I think he was responsible for both those goals. For the first one, I think it's probably harsh to say the ball bounced off his knee, but didn't recover back into his position, and obviously they scored from that. A good goal, admittedly, but the second goal was, I think he was caught napping a bit. I don't think it's the usual Joel Ward that we've become used to. Hopefully that comes back, but he scored goals, so maybe he's concentrating on getting forward to complement Soiré on the other side. So
that second goal against Arsenal, where Sanchez got above him, Sanchez should need to get on a ladder to get above Joel at the back post. He's 5'5", and it's unforgivable really what he's done. He's got caught ball watching and hasn't played the situation, and it's cost us a result, which.
Is Ward still sort of living off the back of that Pulis season where he was so good at left back, out of position? Hasn't really sort of hit the heights of that since.
Yeah, well, I think championship season and then going into under Pulis where he played out of position, I think he did himself well. But there was definitely, towards the end of the Pulis time, he was definitely starting to deteriorate a little bit. And it's very hard playing out of position, constantly having to force yourself onto your bad foot. But he moved back to right back, immediately looked like a very good player again. But now, I don't know, like, I think he's got to really knuckle down and sort of prove that he is the right back that we all think he is. Otherwise, he could find himself, Kelly is a very good replacement in there. Mariap has proved he can play full-back under Pulis as well. He wasn't too bad there. So he has a bit of competition in the background there. So it'd be interesting to see if he continues this form, how long he stays in the team.
Well, I wonder if there's been a change in mindset, because you mentioned that Joel Ward's been attacking a lot more. We've seen him in the penalty area, scored 2 goals. We've not really seen that too much. And obviously Soiré is an attacking fullback as well. I wonder if there's been a change in mindset in that respect, because just to go back to what you said at Chelsea when he scored that goal, Soiré was the first one to him to celebrate, and that's both of our fullbacks ahead of the strikers. I mean, it says a lot, I think.
Yeah, no, it's definitely right. I mean, if Pardew's under the philosophy that we'll just score more goals than you do, then Joel Ward is fulfilling that role, and we shouldn't be looking too much into his defensive lapses, because the wingers aren't given as much protection as they previously did in previous regimes. Since Pardew's come in, Balassi, exception of Zaha, who I think has actually done really well defensively since Pardew come in, Sakho and Balassi on the field at the same time, the fullbacks are getting no protection. So it's a case of using Sakho, Balassi, Ward and Soiré to pin them back, as opposed to us being pinned back, which is again a change in mindset of just us being like, well, we've got to assert ourselves in these teams, because are we a better team than these teams now?
Well, arguably so, because it's worked so far this season. Soiré then, looking better each game, is he?
Yeah, I think there's still question marks about his defensive capabilities, but I think they're getting better as we've gone along. I think his attacking prowess is excellent. I mean, a goal against Shrewsbury was one in the League Cup that he got to the byline. I think he did it a few times last season. Sprinted to the byline and put in a deep cross, and Zaha was there to head it home. I think that side of his game is excellent. He's got pace. He can pick up the ball quickly and run with it and get past players. Particularly leave the strikers who don't tackle back, leave them for dead. But I think going backwards, I think is a little bit suspect, but maybe that'll come in time.
Well, the good thing for him is he's, as well as Ward, half the time they've got the pace to sort of get themselves out of the trouble.
So, yeah.
I thought Nathaniel Klein early on in his Palace career just was all over the place positionally, but he had the pace to get himself out. So they often do get themselves out. I mean, Ward it's not so much he's leaving people open, it was just lapses in concentration really that has led to the goals in that sense. And Suarez not really you can't pin down any errors that he's made to concede any goals, so I think he's been brilliant. And
he looks to be settling, doesn't he?
His left peg crossing is dangerous, and when you've got the likes of, you're going to have Connor Wickham attacking the near post, and then you've got the winger being willing to get in on the far post as well, with one of Cabaye and MacArthur willing to get into the box. I think we're going to score a lot of goals this season.
Is that? I mean, this formation that we're playing, it's quite attacking, isn't it? Because we talked about Johan Cabaye in the first video, that he might play in that number 10 role. He's been played deeper in every game. How's that worked for you, Jay? Is that the right position for him?
So far, yeah. I can't see anything wrong with it at all. I guess in time teams might work us out in a way and know that we're going to play that way, but I think we've got so many options on the ball. It's ridiculous. Last season we were playing with them at Jedley, which I mentioned the other day. I don't think we're ever going to see that again. I think there's only going to be one of those three players that can play in this team as it is at the moment. There might be times where we have two of those players in the game, but at the moment I just can't see it. MacArthur's having such a great season so far. Bit of an unsung hero among the talent, the skillful players. Cabaye gets highly rated all the time, and Sakho's been great as well. But I think MacArthur's been exceptional, and he's the one of those three combative midfielders that is outshining the other two, and don't quite know where that leaves the other two now. Really.
Well, it's interesting. There's the pass percentage of James MacArthur has gone up 11% from last season. He was 77 last season, he's now 88, which just shows what having Cabaye as an option next to him. He's just constantly moving and giving him that pass option, where previously he would have been left to looking for a more complicated pass that he wasn't making on a consistent basis. He scored against the world champions last night.
What more do you want?
He's doing well. I mean, and it's interesting that we've been expecting to see perhaps a Jedinak or a Ledley sitting a lot deeper, but the understanding between MacArthur and Cabaye is often that one goes, one sits, and the only time that the both of them go at the same time is when we're really looking to assert pressure, and they seem to have struck up a good understanding already, which is a compliment to MacArthur as well in itself, because we all know Cabaye's a world-class player. James MacArthur was at Wigan a year and a half ago, and now he's looking exceptional alongside a world-class player. So
at Chelsea we saw that other side of Cabaye as well, didn't we? The one that will dig in and play that defensive midfield role. Have we seen maybe then the end of Palace playing those traditional two defensive midfield, Ledley, Jedinak roles? Has that evolved?
I think Pardew's always said that he'll play what he feels like against the opposition we've got. So I don't think there's no role left for Jedinak or Ledley. I think the go-to formation will be to play without the traditional holding midfielder, and to have Cabaye and MacArthur next to each other. But injuries can happen and so on. It's a squad game these days, and
other cliches.
But Jedinak, he has a role to play. Another cliche.
Good.
Clocking them up. But I think there will be certain games where, especially away from home at certain teams, you're gonna have to play that holding midfielder. So, but at home,
Pardew has gone for it. He went for it against Arsenal. Went for it against Chelsea. Is this what we're going to see now, Jay? And are you happy with it?
I am very happy with it. You can't fail to be, can you? I mean, we've gone to Chelsea, the champions, away from home, and we've beaten them with that formation. Is there any team that we should change our formation for now? Terry's right in that you have to play some formations against certain teams because that's the way the game is, and it's not always, you're not always going to have it your own way. I think the other complication with Jednak and Ledley trying to get back in is a form of Cabaye, because I think he surprised a lot of fans in that you expect him to have the class on the ball and the touch and the pass, but he also gets stuck in. In the games we've seen him play so far, he's not afraid of the tackle. He's not afraid to chase back and win the ball. He's happy doing that. So maybe that threatens Jednak and Ledley in the fact that he can play there as well. So that pushes them even further away from
where does it leave Jednak? Because we saw him come on against Villa and sort of shore things up when needed, but there was talk he was going to leave on deadline day. So does he still have a future at Palace?
Yeah, I think he's got a role to play still, as we mentioned already. I think Ledley still has as well. It's a squad game, as already mentioned. The strongest squad perhaps I've ever seen at Palace, in that you have a bench of players, which I don't think there's one player there that you don't want to come on. Every player on that bench is going to be able to do a job when they come on the pitch, and a decent job. If you're winning or losing a game, you've got an option there. So I think it is a Premier League is a squad game. So I think they've all got a part to play as the season goes on.
Speaking of a player with a part to play, then Bakary Sakho, free transfer signing. He's scored 2 goals already. I mean, we thought he might come as a backup player, but what an impact this guy's had.
Yeah, we've seen him in the Championship. You've seen what he can do, and it was funny watching the Villa game on a stream.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, you broke your run.
My 5-year run came to an end, but it was when it fell to him on the edge of the box, and it was like, well, this is where his left peg's going to look nothing like it does on YouTube, and he stuck it in the bottom corner. I was just like, and the finish against Chelsea as well with his other foot, like very, very smart finish, like lifting it over the goalkeeper. And he's just everything about his all-around play, his willingness to get into the penalty area, to get into goal-scoring positions, to take a shot, and his strength. I think there was a clip going around on the internet of him just holding off I think it was Azpilicueta, just holding him off under pressure. I think he's the perfect sort of Palace player to complement Zaha and Bolasie, to just give teams even more to think about. If you think Bolasie and Zaha start, and then you think you've seen one of them off, and then Sakho comes on.
Is Sakho's best position out wide? Because against Chelsea he was actually in the middle and looked quite good there. Against Villa he played out wide and sort of drifted a bit. So where's his best position, or do we not really know yet?
I think we're still to find out, really. He caused problems for Chelsea in both those areas. I think he was more effective against Villa when he went out wide in the second half. He was still strong in the middle, but I think he seems to be one of these players. Wilf can get knocked off the ball quite easily. Balasie's kind of built up his strength, so he doesn't get knocked off the ball as easy. But Sakho would just run through defenders. You get the impression he would just take them down as he runs, and skillful. And I think the biggest thing is that he has a shot on goal. I think in that Villa game he had 6 shots on goal. I think he had 5 shots on goal in the Chelsea game. I think Bolasie, I think one of the stats were he only had 19 shots on goal the whole of last season on target. So I think that says a lot in that he will push the other two into being better.
He's basically Darren Ambrose 2.0.
Nice. Well, we all like that at Palace. Now we haven't mentioned Jason Puncheon, who also had a great season last season, and he's been playing well this season. Was he harshly overlooked for the England squad? Because again, the squad's come around, no Palace players in there. Should he and maybe Scott Dann have been in there?
I think it's always going to be tough for a 29-year-old to break in, and especially an unfashionable English player. He's not really ever settled anywhere. He's not going to really be looked that favourably upon. If he keeps making a performance, it's going to be very, very tough to ignore. But as we was discussing before, I'd rather him not be in the England team, thank you very much.
Definitely.
I'd rather him having this week off with his feet up, or on his little, what do you call them things that they're all rolling around on these days?
Segways.
Yeah, we're not getting paid for that.
We will accept segways. Okay, so chaps, as you know, I love a quiz, so we've got a little quiz to end this video on. So question number 1. Now, Palace have had the joint 4th most shots on target this season. But how many have they had? Have they had 23, 24 or 25?
Blimey.
23.
23 from Jay?
24.
The answer is 23, so 1 point to Jay, there you go. Question number 2. I'm not sure how this one's going to work, but let's just see what happens. So the first 9 goal scorers of Palace this season were all different goal scorers, which may be a record. I'm not sure. We should have checked it out for the video. Can you name all 9 goal scorers? Go.
Alternate. Sacco.
Kabay.
Ward.
Dan.
Yeah, you're right. Zaha.
Delaney.
Yeah.
Good.
I've lost count already, but yeah.
Are we missing
Who
anyone?
else has scored?
You got 3 more.
3 more.
3 more.
They were all in the League Cup.
Oh, right, okay. Glenn Murray.
Glenn Murray, Lee.
Yeah.
And Dwight Gale.
Correct. Well done. And I don't know who gets the points for that. Good. I did have another question. Hang on, I do.
Was there a prize? Or
No, we have one more question. We talked about Bakary Sakho, who signed on a free, but can you name me the other freebie in the current Palace first team?
As in signing this transfer window, or at all?
At all.
Damien Delaney.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, well done. Good. Wasn't keeping count on the scores, but well done for both of you. Thank you very much for watching this video, part 1 of our monthly review here at the Victory Club in Norwood Junction. Subscribe to Palace Fan TV for more videos, and follow us on Twitter as well for all the latest. And we'll see you again soon. Bye.